Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Nerdsters of the Universe. I'm Kerwin.
And I'm Pizza.
And today's going to be a short one. I had to work the other job today, and we got our Etsy store going on the craft side of things, the Crashly side of things. So it's been busy. It's going to be busy. But She-Hulk released today, so I wanted to talk about that. I liked it. I thought it was cool. I did.
I really did too. I was surprised. I always go into them a little skeptical, and then I liked it. It was really good. The actress was good. CG here and there, you could see little bits, but I liked it. It was good.
Oh yeah, well, it's gonna have CG. It's a Hulk show. I liked the whole Hulk jealousy type thing. Like it was like he's fighting it a little bit. He's issues.
We got some spoilers just in case. I know it's early, but you know.
You're talking about a little Hulk jealousy. They know Hulk's in it.
Yeah. No, I mean some of the stuff I like too, where he's going through his whole binder with her. He's like, "Well, fine then," and he there's the whole first section out.
Oh yeah, broke the fourth wall awesomely.
Yeah, she did it really good.
Oh, the one I loved. Oh man, World War Hulk coming. I mean, there's got to be World War Hulk coming.
I'm waiting.
Spoiler for anybody: Sakaar gets a name drop.
Uh-oh.
If anybody recalls, Sakaar is the planet that Hulk was on in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And as far as how that ties into World War Hulk, Sakaar is the planet that Thor was stranded on fighting as a gladiator.
Yeah.
They sort of tied in the whole Planet Hulk side of the story into Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, okay.
And World War Hulk is a continuation of Planet Hulk. So there's some thoughts in there. Obviously, Marvel has announced that they are doing the wow, my brain just.
I saw the thing for Namor and all those too.
Namor, oh yeah, in Black Panther 2. No, it's more on the Hulk side. It's the Thunderbolts.
Okay.
They've announced Thunderbolts. Now, how they're going to do it, I don't know, because the actor who played Thunderbolt Ross, General Ross, is passed, so obviously it'd have to be a recast.
Yeah.
But there's a little, teaser in it for that too. Just little teasers that were awesome, and it's a very interesting episode. It didn't give much. It gave a lot, but it didn't give much.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got just decent first episode. It laid out where you are.
Yeah.
Like, hey, come take this journey. This is where you are. All right. See you next episode.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was really good. It had just enough of like a little like origin bit, and then it had the little bit of the ending in there with it, and it's like, okay, and it went off that way, and it was.
And guys, there is a mid-credit scene in this one.
Yeah, I love the end credit scenes. Me and Robbie were watching that, giggling through the whole thing. He said, "My bar." That's the end.
You're helping me.
I love the whole air horn thing. He did the air horn
where he throws the rock. I'm just showing you how it's done. Yeah. I see.
You could see they had a little competition going, being family or whatever.
Oh yeah, you had some classic MCU Hulk, like Avengers Hulk, not what everybody's complaining about nowadays. But I remember in Avengers 1 where Hulk hits Thor type thing. You get a little bit of that classic banter going on.
Yeah, he pushed her. Yeah, it had the right amount of like Marvel. It had the right amount of like Avengers, and it had a good amount of humor in it, just enough. I liked it. We were talking about the actress that plays her, and Val said she was from Orphan Black, a series that Val watches with Sci-Fi or whatever, and she played like 6 or 7 different characters. She was like a clone or something like that, and there was like 6 or 7 different versions of her that she had to play. And each one of them was like different, personality, speaking style, whatever. And she nailed it. And I'm thinking, she's got the timing and everything down. This looks great. I think there's supposed to be, 9 episodes, you said?
Yeah.
9 episodes for this show. So that ought to be pretty good.
Yeah, I'm liking it. All right, here's an unpopular opinion.
Uh-oh.
Marvel is not releasing enough.
You think?
Oh, I totally believe they're not releasing enough. How many movies does Marvel Studios put out per year?
And I've been thinking from the whole start of Captain America and all them, when they started Iron Man, Captain America. I think they've been putting out 2 a year? 2, 3 a year?
2 to 3 movies a year.
Yeah.
About 3 movies a year. And now they're putting out, 3, maybe 4 TV shows a year. Right.
I think they're doing just enough. I think that it's not going to oversaturate. Like, you're not going to get sick of it, but you're still waiting. Oh my God, when's the next one coming out?
See, here's the problem. I do not know what it is doing there. The cat stepped on the keyboard. All right. Here's the situation, right? There are 2 film studios that are not paying. They're paying for themselves because of the revenue they put in, they pull in from what they put out, but they're highly under bar compared to other studios, Marvel and Lucasfilms. All right. When Disney owned Touchstone Pictures would put out 10, 11 movies a year. When Disney owned, was it Touchstone? Which one put out Signs? They've owned Miramax. When Disney owned Miramax.
Yeah.
Miramax put out 10, 12 movies a year. The studios put out 10, they would put out about a movie a month or so. May miss a month if they didn't feel like it was going to perform well with what else is coming out that month. Everyone's looking at Marvel and Lucasfilms as, that's comic books or Star Wars. It's got to be a specific type. No, they're studios. Disney doesn't own any more studios now than they have in the past.
Yeah.
Technically, they're not putting as many movies out now as they have in the past, because when they owned Miramax for over a better part of a decade, when they owned Touchstone Pictures for whatever time they owned it, it wasn't Disney per se, because it was under the Buena Vista Company. But when Disney rebranded and changed their name to Disney, it's still the same company. They just rebranded the whole company's name Disney instead of having Disney as a studio below it.
Yeah. I think streaming has a lot to do with that these days now.
Streaming has a lot to do with it. However, if you look at what studios are putting out, they're still putting out the content. They're still putting out the product. This is where I say Marvel isn't putting out enough, is Marvel is getting stuck in a niche. And for a studio to get stuck in a niche is not a good thing.
No.
Technically, where Marvel's at is the moment comic book movies become annoying to the majority.
Yeah.
Marvel doesn't have money to make.
Yeah, I think that's why they're not putting them out as much. You know what I mean?
I get they're not wanting to saturate the market with comic book movies. However, Marvel has put out horror comics, comedy comics, action comics, romance comics, comics based off novels, comics based off TV. They've put out comic books, as far as Marvel goes, that hit all the genres, that tie in a little bit but don't always tie together.
Yeah.
That's what I feel Marvel needs to be doing with their studio. They need to start making romance movies. They can take place within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but they don't have to name drop everything that happens. Hulk doesn't have to show up in this little romance going on. It could just be a little storyline of some people that live in that. It could still be one giant cinematic universe that can have little callbacks or little, oh this, oh that, but they don't have to all be intertwined, interconnected, right?
My thing right now with all that is, I think Hollywood is just, I don't know any other way to say it. I think Hollywood all the studios are just getting a little lazy anymore. They're remakes, reboots, rebrand. Like they already started talking about the new Wizard of Oz. They're trying to remake the Wizard of Oz, and that's a movie. They've tried different versions. They've tried. I don't think it's going to work, but it's.
I think it will, because the Wizard of Oz has not been remade. It has been reimagined. There have been different versions of the book.
Mm-hmm.
There has been a prequel version, Oz the Great and Powerful, that came out and actually did pretty well. But as far as a remake of The Wizard of Oz that struck gold, starring Judy Garland, there has not been a remake of that movie. No. There has been a miniseries on TV that was based off The Wizard of Oz. There's been cartoons. There's been low-budget films. But not one studio has sat down and made a full-fledged budget remake of Judy Garland's.
I just don't know. I just don't know how it's going to be, because I read the article today. They were talking about the director that's doing it. The director from the series Blackish is going to be doing it. And I don't care what they do or how but I mean, The Wizard of Oz, and the first thing is My Vision 4. Now, that's what how do you take something that is like a timeless masterpiece like The Wizard of Oz and reimagine it?
If it's his Vision 4, then it might not be a remake of The Wizard of Oz starring Judy Garland. It might be his vision of the original novel.
Well, they said a remake. Their words exactly were a remake. So
they're always when Tim Burton did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it was a remake. It was, everyone hated it. It's not like the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It was
like the book. Yeah,
it had lines from the book. Every single song was from the book, word for word.
Yeah,
Raoul Dahl got 100% writer's credit for the songs.
Yeah,
even though Danny Elfman put music and style to them.
I mean, that'd be great if they do it like that, because I know there are so many books in that series. There's like a bunch of different books, but they're talking about a remake of the 1930 whatever classic. I want to see how it's going to come out, but I mean, they've done their versions of it, and
if it's that situation, I don't think it's going to be successful. If they were wanting to seriously make, if somebody in the studio said, you know what, we're going to revisit and remake the 1930s, 40, whatever it was. If we're going to remake The Wizard of Oz starring Judy Garland, let's remake it. They want it to be successful. They will remake it, but make it a sequel to Oz the Great and Powerful. Because that was a different film. And it was designed to lead up to Judy Garland's The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
So it sort of already has that door open for them to go that direction of doing that remake.
I know.
It's going to be tough because it is a classic, but it is also one of those movies that you can't make it the way it was then. You can't make that now.
There's just certain movies that I think you shouldn't touch. Like that would be like them trying to pull off like Brando and De Niro's magic with The Godfather. You know what I mean?
Well, The Godfather wasn't based on a novel. Remaking a movie that, like, if Scorsese came out and said, I want to revisit The Godfather, that's on him. It's his story. He's redoing it.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Yeah. But if 10 years from now, Scorsese's gone or retired, I'll just say Scorsese's retired and he doesn't have control over it, and somebody else comes out and says, we're going to remake The Godfather. No.
Right.
But the Judy Garland's The Wizard of Oz was not like, it had effects of the books.
Right.
But it was not like the books. So any future releases of them are not remakes of, you don't have to touch it. They can remake because it's going off source material.
I hope they do something good with it to try and touch it that way. I'm already bent because I heard about the how the studio got hold of the Anne Rice stories, the Mayfair Witches, the Vampire Chronicles, and I saw the first previews of Interview with a Vampire, and it's not Interview with a Vampire. They named the characters after Interview with a Vampire, but it's supposed to be, I think, a series or something like that.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing.
No, they're going to ruin it again.
Well, no. Here's the problem. You get a situation. I'll give you a prime example. See,
there he is.
Jock's like my back, my shoulder. I can lay down.
There he is.
He's gonna knead himself down.
Yep, making the biscuits.
I have thought about the Wizard of Oz.
But the problem we're running into is it's 2022.
Yeah.
A lot of these filmmakers, a lot of the people in the industry now,
yeah,
grew up in the 90s, right? Some of them grew up in the early aughts. So that's going to be a problem with Interview with the Vampire because they grew up with the film Interview with the Vampire.
Right.
So they're going to have the book, and then they're going to have the movie in their minds, and they're going to be like, we have to find a happy medium there. An example will be, so far, fan reaction to the casting of Tim Burton's Wednesday TV series.
People are going nuts over that. I'm like,
based on the Addams Family.
Right.
And everybody's throwing a fit about Luis Guzman playing
Gomez Addams. Yeah, Gomez. He's a Spanish character.
Well, no, it's not a matter of being. It's Luis Guzman doesn't look like.
I know who you mean.
I can't remember their names. I'm sorry, I'm tired, guys. Names aren't coming to me. He doesn't look like Gomez looked in the original, in the old TV show, and he doesn't look like Gomez looked in the Addams Family movies.
Right.
They're going, but they don't understand. The Addams Family was a comic book.
Yeah, it started out a comic strip, wasn't it? Like a comic strip originally.
Somewhat, yeah.
Where's Hollow Queen when you need her?
It wasn't a TV show. It was a comic. The TV show came after the comic.
Yep.
And they casted it. And then the movie came after the TV show, but the movie was clearly based off the TV show, not the comic.
Right.
Then they've released these two new animated movies, The Addams Family and The Addams Family 2, which are pretty successful. The artwork is really similar to the comic.
Yeah.
But
John Astin
doesn't look like. Granted, his wig looks weird.
Yeah.
But that's just principal photography.
Right.
Principal photography always looks different.
Yeah, it's John Astin.
John Astin, yeah.
Yeah, because he played the Riddler too, but for one season.
Yeah. But I was just like, why are these? But that's the problem you run into. And Burton in the past has gone to source material.
Yeah.
For a reason. Now, he did go outside the box with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, adding in the whole Willy Wonka and his dad
shaking
thing in there, which was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But, I think he was trying to set something up for Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, which is what they originally hired him to do.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't do it as a sequel to Willy Wonka because that's one of his favorite films. So he said he'd do it if they let him let him make his own version based off the book. And of course, it bombed because it wasn't Willy Wonka's. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. But getting jealous there. They got a little.
Oh, that's cute. I wish he would do that still. He doesn't do that anymore.
So, but ever since the fiasco with Planet of the Apes, when he did his version of Planet of the Apes, and everyone threw a fit that it was his reimagining and it wasn't close enough to the book, he made a point to go back. Legend of Sleepy Hollow. He tried to he adds his own flair to it.
Yeah.
He's always added his own flair, his own little story, change it up a little bit.
So a new generation can grow up with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's
kind of like Godzilla.
All right.
That was something reimagined due to all the different changing throughout that.
Well, Godzilla was different because there were always different movies for Godzilla. You could do whatever you wanted for that. That was a little different.
Godzilla suffered because it came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
The Godzilla with
I was showing him the 60s Godzillas before, so Mothra and Hydra.
30s.
The one in the 90s suffered because it came out in the 90s. It suffered from 90s formula monster movie, where it wasn't really a monster movie. It was more of an action. But it's just you run into these situations where you've got to try to go with the source material, but people throw a fit because that's not what I remember.
Right. They have I mean, the whole thing that gets me with Interview with a Vampire, he was supposed to be a 1700s plantation owner. You know, the White Devil, and has Lestat come in. And I mean, granted, they changed it up to make it a little different in the movie, that his wife and child had died in childbirth. In the book, it was his brother had died. But I mean, the character, and I don't want it to sound wrong, but I mean, they have it as a black club owner in the 1930s or 20s or something like that. So, I mean, I hate when they do that, and I've said it before, and I mean, I always get the snicker or whatever, but if you're going to change the characters, say based on Interview with a Vampire, characters based on, call it something else.
Yeah.
You can use the character, you can change him. Anne Rice went, when I read these books, and I always loved all of them, Val and I both, and she took a lot of detail in her books to describe particularly how the characters looked. And, you know, Louis was described as the jet black hair, the powerful green eyes, the white skin that matched the white collar, so you couldn't tell where it was. She went through almost two and a half pages just describing what he looked like. And now they're going to change things. I mean, they have Lestat, they have Claudia, but it's not, you know, it's based on, apparently.
Yeah. Well, see, my situation when it comes to character, my situation when it comes to characterizations on how characters are described and looked.
Right.
We've had this conversation too.
Yeah.
I look at any medium as an alternate reality. And in alternate realities, you could look different. You could be different. You could have a different lifestyle. I was reading something earlier today, a meme that showed when it was from from Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show.
Yeah.
Where Bucky and Falcon are talking to each other, and he's like, "Who are you gonna fight? Gandalf?" He's like, "How do you know about Gandalf?" I read The Hobbit in 1937 when it came out. Oh my gosh, this meme had so many people on there being like, "How did he read The Hobbit in 37 living in the States? It didn't come out in the States until 38." Or like being so toxic, nerd. And I'm just like, are we serious? Like, how do you know when it came out?
I like being a nerd, and I like my little certain attention to detail, but stuff like that is ridiculous. Like someone went through Forrest Gump and checked the dates on Jenny's tombstone. You died on a Wednesday or whatever, and then the date on the tombstone wasn't a Wednesday, and people were like, "Oh my God, all the inconsistencies." I'm like, dude, lighten up. It's a movie, man.
Here's my thoughts on it, right? They're like, "Oh, it didn't come out until 37 in the States. It came out in 37 in the UK. It came out in 38 in the States." I'm like, okay.
When did the book come out?
Well, we're not talking about the same book.
Right.
You're talking about The Hobbit in our reality. You're not talking about The Hobbit in the MCU reality.
Right.
Oh, it's the same. Oh, when did Red Skull? I'm like, when did Red Skull come out? Like, not come out, but when did Red Skull start doing his stuff?
Yeah.
When did the Tesseract get found in our world? The Tesseract doesn't exist in our world. So there's inconsistencies between the two worlds, between the two universes. So you're saying this fantasy universe that has been made up can't possibly have the book come out a year early?
Yeah. Some nerds need to, like, I mean, it's good to be a nerd and know your stuff, but I mean, come on, man. They're movies, just like, you know, at the Star Trek experience and the Star Trek TV shows and the conventions and stuff. Yeah, I dress like a Klingon. I wear Starfleet. I've done Vulcans for things. And someone's like, you know, it's a movie, right? I'm like, duh. Yes, it's a movie I enjoy. Why do you dress up like that? You're not really Klingon. No, it's a fan thing. Fandom, I do it as a release to the real world that we're in. I like to have fun. I know it's a show. I know they're movies. Come on, man. let's all lighten up.
No, here's what's funny, right? That same person on Sunday nights in fall probably wear a football jersey.
Yeah.
You know, have like a foam finger or something.
Yep.
Like, you just want to see them out in their jersey and be like, hey, you know it's just a game, right?
Yeah, you know it's a game, right?
Yeah.
You know you're not on the team, right?
Team. Like you're not that person, right?
Right.
Like, oh, I just wear it to show. Exactly. Same thing. Same concept.
Yeah.
Some people collect comics. Some people collect stamps. Some people collect cars.
Exactly.
Some people
that was in that Trekkies movie. It was the only thing. The first Trekkies movie, they made us look bad. The second one, my fan club is actually in the second movie, both of them. The Klingons and the Sovereign are both in Trekkies too. But the comedian said it. I mean, why can't I wear my Star Trek pin or my T-shirt or my just throw on the uniform for a convention and not have a problem with it? Yet someone can wear his football hat, his jersey, his things, and run around, and that's okay.
I don't think I
Just because it's more, yeah. I mean, we're a big fandom house. I have a Hogwarts alumni T-shirt that I wear. Obviously, I did not go to Hogwarts.
I have alumni for Charles
you didn't go
Xavier
to
School.
Yeah, we have that too. Huh?
You're not Hagrid's son?
No, it's coming. The magic is coming. It's getting
You're
there.
Hagrid's son. I
don't think I'm part of Planet Cloud.
Hey, babe, did you know that pizza is not Hagrid's son? I've been bamboozled.
No, Dumbledore. I'm a Dumbledore. How's that?
You're a Dumbledore?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to be a Dumbledore. That family hasn't had the greatest history.
Oh my God. I was gonna say something about that. I'm glad Ezra Miller is getting treatment. Anybody that can say, "Look, I had a problem. I'm getting treatment," and do it. God bless them. Whatever you believe in, more power to you. But all I thought of when I read the article was Dennis Leary years ago talking about. He goes, "I'm just going to go on a binge. I'm going to go and beat my kids and drink and do drugs and come around. Then I'm going to go to treatment. Then I'm going to be on the cover of People magazine 2 months later going, sorry, I messed up. I'm all better now." You know, that's all I can think of is Ezra Miller now in like 6 months. He goes through treatment. He's like, sorry, that's released. I think a lot of it has to do with DC itself because they don't want to scrap that movie. I don't think they're scrapping a lot of stuff. But I think money-wise,
the problem is the film is the springboard for what they're wanting, the direction they're wanting to go.
Right.
And without the springboard, it's going to be like, what?
I've even read articles and heard rumors of Michael Keaton being in a Batman Beyond movie as the older Bruce Wayne.
I seriously think that is Batgirl tested horribly.
Did it really?
Yeah. Batgirl tested horribly. They were, with its budget, they were wanting to make it theatrical release to get the budget back because they're worried about HBO Max somewhat. But from the way it tested, everybody was saying it was just a bad episode. That it looked like a bad episode of a TV show.
Oh God!
So I seriously think that they scrapped Batgirl. But I think they might be scrapping Batgirl to maybe bring in Batman Beyond or whatever. They just need to. I think DC needs to steer away from making superhero movies for right now. I think they need to take a small break. Warner Brothers needs to take a small break, reassess how they are going to approach the DC world, and then reintroduce it in a completely different fashion. And by that, I mean, we don't need a 25th Superman movie. We don't need a 30th Batman movie. They don't go, okay, here's the DCEU. Here's Superman. Here's Batman. Here's Flash. You know, I like the Aquaman movies, but they don't need to be like, here's Aquaman. You know, Shazam. I love Shazam. I think it's great. I like that we're getting Black Adam. There's so many DC characters out there, just like there are Marvel characters, that they don't need to come in and be like, here's a movie we've regurgitated to you 12 times. You know? I
mean, I know they're steering away from Green Lantern because that was just miserable.
And the Green Lantern would be a great movie to revisit, a great character to revisit. I think Martian Manhunter would be a great character to revisit. There are so many characters that are even mainstream that would allow them to go into what they're doing. But they're too hung up on
They're trying to make a perfect Batman movie and the right Superman movie, and it's just getting stuck. Even the Justice League. I wanted to see a good Justice League. And
they get good casting for Batman.
Yeah.
Honestly, with the exception of George Clooney, I've liked the casting of I liked Val Kilmer. I loved Michael Keaton. I liked
Christian Bale.
I I think Ben
I love
Affleck could
Ben
have did.
Affleck as an older Batman. Ben Affleck as an older Batman was amazing.
That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see a solo Ben Affleck Batman movie.
Yes. And Robert Pattinson was amazing as a young year 1, year 2 Batman.
Yeah.
However, please, if I get another Batman movie, okay, whatever, please don't give me creepy stalker Batman again. I'm sorry. I do not need to sit there and watch 5 minutes of screen time of Batman voyeurizing on a woman changing.
Yeah.
Like, that's not Batman.
No.
He wouldn't sit there when he follows someone to a collar, when he follows someone on something he's investigating, he would investigate. He wouldn't sit there going, well, I'm supposed to find out this girl so I can question her to find out the murder of the mayor, but I'm going to sit there and watch this girl change clothes instead.
I think they were trying to do the Batman-Catwoman relationship part of it, where it started, but they didn't do it right. They made him stalker Batman.
I honestly don't think it started with Batman looking at her through binoculars, watching her change clothes.
Exactly.
That's not who Batman is.
No.
Like some guy in the 80s chick flick or like one of those cheesy rom-coms.
It's just, and they're supposed to be making a second movie with him, but I thought it was 3 hours was a little long for that movie.
Like, honestly, I was well, the whole ending, it should have ended when they caught Riddler. That whole extra ending thing was BS. It was annoying. But I half expected Batman to fall, get hit by a car, or not. I half expected him to fall, go to get hit by a car, and then his son from the future pushes him out of the way. I mean, seriously, he's straight Marty McFly.
Yeah. The 3 hours for that was a little much, and it just went. Yeah. If they would have did a solo Ben Affleck Batman movie, even though I know he's in Aquaman. He's in the second Aquaman movie.
Well, I know what I would like to see. Would have liked to see in that Batman movie references to just besides Joker to like other things like come see the Flying Graysons.
Well, it's still year 1, year 2. So you doesn't. The Graysons don't come out yet. They're going to be a little while.
Well,
it would be a little while. That is one of the situations about the Batman. About the Bruce Wayne, Dick Grayson relationship is technically comic book ages are really hard to get around. But Bruce and Dick, their age gap was only like 7 years, if that. Dick Grayson was maybe 15, 16 years old as Robin, and Batman was in his lower 20s.
Yeah.
And it was so Bruce wasn't a full-fledged adult yet. He would have gotten out of college. I would say probably let's put him like 24-ish. And he was still struggling with the death of his parents. Like Robin came on the scene early for Batman. It wasn't a later on thing. And a big part of the situation was it was a kindred spirit. It was like his only friend that was somewhat close to his age. Imagine
have the same problem as him.
Well, they always made him more of a father figure in a lot of the stuff.
They did go the route of a father figure because Batman was supposed to feel larger than life, but Batman wasn't in his 30s per se when that happened. Because it wasn't until after because Dick was only Robin for what 5 years, 4 years. If
that, something like that, technically.
And then became Nightwing. And, then by the time Bruce got into his 30s, that's when he started getting the other Robins.
Yeah. That's what I liked about the Affleck movie. They tied all that in because they had Robin's suit from The Killing Joke, when Robin was beaten by the Joker. So what?
Death in the Family.
Yeah.
Killing Joke
was
Killing Joke is
Barbara.
When Barbara got shot. Well, she got more than shot, but
I know. I couldn't believe that when I saw that, but I was like, ooh.
The comics have been up and down, dark and not dark. I mean, there's all different aspects. And the thing about comics, like I said, I've got no problem with reimagining, twisting it, making it work for a film status. Just don't make Batman a creepy guy looking at a girl through a video or through binoculars.
I've been watching reading the other comic book series, Um, the DC did the one thing that I liked, unlike the thing with Superman, just to appease people. They're making the new if Superman was black. I mean, that's fine, different universe, whatever. But DC kept Batman in the same universe, but it's the next Batman or something.
Terry McGinnis?
No, he's an African American guy. He's like,
Isn't that for Batman Incorporated?
yeah, I think what it is I forget the whole thing with it, but it's called the next Batman or something like
That's
that.
the New York Batman.
Yeah, he's like a new Batman, like the Batman Incorporated thing after Nightfall.
He goes to New York, baby.
It's like, yeah, I got to show it to you. I'll have to pull it out for next week.
There's
But
nothing-
it's not. You're not talking about Batwing, are you?
No. It's a whole new Batman.
Whatever.
I think it's supposed to be after Bruce Wayne's death, after Nightfall.
Well, Bruce Wayne didn't die in Nightfall.
At the end of it, then
He didn't.
the comic one he did.
No, he did not.
I have to look at that again because it's supposed to be after Alfred died. Alfred died, Bruce left, and we did the Batman.
Nightfall was the night. Alfred didn't die until not that long ago. The whole Nightfall was Bruce. He got his back broke. Bane broke his back.
Yeah, that was. But when I'm talking about the movie, Return of the Batman,
I just thought about
Part 1 and 2.
Okay,
They called it the Nightfall Protocol at the end.
I just thought about something.
So I didn't know what to. It's the Batman, the Return of the Batman with the girl as Robin.
It's pretty cool, but I have to catch up on their animated movies. I have not caught up on the animated side. No, if we're talking comic side, Nightfall, the end of Nightfall.
Yeah, there's Nightfall
Bane
1 and
broke
2.
Batman's back.
Yeah, and then Azrael took over as Batman for a
Ezra
while.
took over, and then you had Night Quest, and then Night's End is when Bruce Wayne comes back and beats the holy living crap out of Azrael. It was great. I love that comic. That was
Yeah, because Azrael got a little too
like you've got Azrael in his Batman in his crazy
armor thing.
razor blade type armor suit. You've got Bruce Wayne in the
Batman from Batman Arkham Knight. That was Azrael controlling the forces of hell to get Batman back.
Please.
I was just saying.
Yeah, I mean, when I watched The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Returns in the animated ones, it's Part 1 and 2 with the girl Robin.
Yeah.
It was a little hard to watch. I mean, it looked like it was supposed to be Jim Lee-ish, comic wise. But I mean, they had characters like the bad guys run around. It was supposed to be some big soldier German woman with a flat top, and all she had on was tight pants and 2 pieces of tape over the big, enormous cartoon boobs. And it was okay, but it was a little. Superman looked like an Elvis in a bad jumpsuit, like he normally was, in a blue and red jumpsuit.
It was why is his name?
It looked like it was supposed to be when Ronald Reagan was president. It was funny.
It was written in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought about something.
And it was
Halloween,
where are you? I'm forgetting names today.
What's that? And it would look like a Jim Lee comic book because that's where I saw it first.
It wasn't Jim Lee. It was Jim Lee was Jim Lee at DC at that time, or did he go to Marvel already?
No, he was still in Dark Horse, I think.
Dark Horse, that's where Jim Lee was. This was come on, Pizza, Daredevil,
Ninja Turtles.
Mm-hmm.
That's Robbie's does the action figures because we got the Batman from that one and Elvis Superman.
I'm gonna have to turn in my nerd card. I cannot think of his name.
Which
I'm gonna look it up.
That's her. Let me see the girl Robin.
No, this is the Joker from that set.
Yeah, the girl Robin from that one.
And the Bilbo figure.
Oh yeah, his horse. Let me see the Joker.
Frank Miller.
Frank Miller. Okay,
That's what it was.
The
God,
Joker.
it was driving me crazy.
the Joker from
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, Frank Miller. But
Okay.
yeah, no, man. I like to see the direction they're going. I'm okay with reimaginings. I'm intrigued about the Joker sequel.
I'm really not. I do not care for Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn,
I am extremely
and it's
intrigued.
supposed to be it's a musical. They're talking about it's a musical. Come on.
Yes, And Lady Gaga can act, and she can
I
sing,
think that fixed the wildness.
and so can Joaquin Phoenix. He can act and he can sing. I'm intrigued.
I almost might watch it on a dare just for the show, just for our show here.
I think it's going to be some straight up Arkham mind. Here's my thoughts, right?
Okay.
And here's where I think the direction is they're going with the Joker franchise with Arthur Fleck. It's all mind. It's all in his mind. I think every movie they're doing is his screwed up mind.
Well, yeah.
I think him being, I think the whole thing about the Joker was his own. Like, I think someone told him that Bruce Wayne was Batman, and that was his way of integrating himself into the origin of Batman.
Well, right? his mother told him that in the first movie, that Thomas Wayne was his father, so he wanted to get at Bruce and Thomas Wayne.
What I'm saying I'm saying that never happened.
Right.
That the whole movie, The Joker, was a story that Arthur Fleck was telling his psychiatrist in Arkham. And it's his own messed up mind trying to put him as the origin of Batman. He's the one who got Batman's parents killed. He's not only Batman's arch nemesis, he helped create Batman, and he's Batman's brother. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think the whole film is in his head. And I think that's where they're going with this one, too. It's going to be like he meets Harley Quinn, and it's going to be one giant mind twist craziness. And I love Lady Gaga's acting. I'm sorry. She was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I love Lady Gaga in the other stuff.
She can sing. I may not be a fan of her music that she produced, but she can sing. Joaquin Phoenix's acting is amazing, and he can sing. I mean, Walk the Line was excellent.
I'm intrigued. Yeah, I would say I'm intrigued as well. More like almost like a car accident, and you can't look away.
I don't think it's going to.
I don't know. I mean, I really didn't like the first Joker. I really didn't like it.
A lot of people didn't.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
I was watching it. The whole time I was watching it as though it wasn't real, because it felt like it wasn't real.
I thought they were going to use that to set up the three Jokers timeline. I thought that's what they were going to do, but
I really hope they don't do the three Jokers timeline.
The one from the Batman.
Yeah, I know. It seems like a little much. But now when I go to the comics, we were at the comic store today, and I just wanted Batman. I was looking for the three I normally get, the DC Batman. There were literally 7 Batman titles that are within the last 2 weeks, this week and last week. I'm like,
do people buy that?
Yeah, I'm looking at Wade. I'm like, the guy that owns the shop, Wade's Comic Madness. He's awesome. I mean, the store has everything. But I'm like, what the hell is going on? And he's like, they have everything. They have the, you can buy one comic book with 4 different variant covers. This cover, that cover, the Pride cover, this cover. I'm like, come on, man. I mean, the fact that when they're doing the Son of Kal-El Superman and they made him gay, great. It's a new character. It's a new storyline. They didn't change anybody.
Yeah.
There's just, they didn't call it the Superboy timeline, but there's just so many different titles of each one now.
Yeah, and the variants annoy me somewhat, which they've had them, whatever. I like the collecting aspect, but I also like the reading aspect as well.
Yeah.
And I attest it to any other type of collecting, right?
Yeah.
To be a collector means you would like to be a completionist. If you play Pokemon and you got to catch them all, you want to collect them all. You want to collect all the Pokemon. If you're a stamp collector,
I'm like that with DVDs. My DVDs and movie collections. I may not have liked the movie, but if it's in the collection, I got to have it. It's like it got to complete the collection.
If you collect stamps, you collect stamps. Yeah, there's rare ones, but usually what they are is they're not variants, they're mistakes. This one had this issue, this one had that issue. Cards, you collect cards. Yeah, They do release the card again and again, but when they release a card, they don't release 10 different card and go, you were smart enough to go buy that card, but you weren't smart enough to buy the one variant that is possibly going to be worth money. So
Yep.
you got stuck with something nobody else wants. Like, it seriously, it's like, just stop buying the actual main one and just buy variants from now on. Heck, that's what they want you to do, apparently.
I
don't know.
I was going through my comics in that the app that I got that you turned me on to, and I have a third edition of one comic book. For some reason, the third edition is worth more than the 1st printing of it. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I go with the comics, and I like some of the problem I have with all the different variant covers is I usually like some of them. I mean, they're obviously meant to be like, ooh, what's that one? And they put like another $1 or $2 on the comic book for that variant.
No, the Fortnite comics.
The foil comic, the sketch comic, this comic. Like when we bought the Spawn.
Well, some of the variants, and they've had these variants for a while. They're called retailer incentive variants.
Not a variant once.
And I get RI variants. I completely understand RI variants. It's the non-RI variants, and McFarlane does it too with Spawn. He'll have like 3 or 4 different variants that aren't retailer incentive. Retailer incentive variants make sense. It's, hey, you sell comic books. Tell you what, if you buy 25 of this title to sell, we'll give you another one that you can price at a higher cost to recoup any cost you might lose by buying 25 if they don't all sell.
Right.
So on and so forth. So it's usually ratio price. So if it's a 1 in 25 variant, it would be a $25 comic. If it's a 1 in 50 variant, it'd be a $50 comic. So on and so forth. And they can lose value, gain value, whatever. But
the thing like Fortnite didn't do the prices.
Yeah. It is 10 o'clock.
Okay.
And I got a lot to do, guys. So it's been fun. I hate cutting us off, but hopefully I'll see you guys next week. I'll catch you later, Pizza. As always, everybody, live long and prosper. This is the way.
This is the way. See you next time.
Nerds